Well, the news from Malaysia that Malaysian Flight 370 is now in the ocean off the West Australian coast in the deep Indian Ocean, that bits now have been found and now the effort will be made to identify just where that plane might be. There is a temptation to say, well, this is providing some sort of resolution for the families. Obviously, the families would have been hoping that their loved ones, the people they know on that plane, were still alive. This would be confirmation for them that they have lost their lives in this crash, but it certainly doesn't provide them with a resolution, because what we still need to know is what happened to the plane, why it was where it was it mechanical failure, what kind of mechanical failure was it something other than mechanical failure, was it the action of the pilots, was it some sort of sabotage, all of those questions. And then perhaps the worst questions for those people who have relatives or friends on the plane. Where are the bodies? Will they ever be recovered? And even worse than that, something that will, if Air France is any example, it will eventually be known once the black boxes are recovered, and we presume they eventually will be. Once they are recovered, we'll know what happened on that plane. And until we know that, and it could be many years before we know, they'll be left with the thought of what happened to their closest sons, daughters, mothers, fathers. What happened to them on that plane? Were they, in the best case scenario, rendered unconscious through some mechanical problem or lack of pressure on the plane, and then the plane just went on and went into the sea? The worst possibility is that somehow the plane was disabled, and that for a very long time the people on the plane knew they were in trouble and knew they may be about to dive into the sea, and so their last moments may have been quite horrifying. It's a terrible thought for any of us to contemplate, but for those people who are close to those who are on the plane, it is almost impossible to contemplate what they're going through. Not to mention the seemingly very, very cold and dispassionate way that Malaysian Airlines told them of this finding, which was by text message. So in all of the talk about this and all of the speculation, this has been the story of the last few weeks, which has consumed everything. Think of the thousands of people who are relatives of those who are on the plane, who would be going through the horror now of thinking of all the things that we've just been talking about. And for many of those people, it'll involve young children that have to be talked to and have this all explained to them, and the thoughts that will be going through their minds that they'll have to put up with for years to come before some of those answers arrive. In some cases, of course, the answers may never come.